Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. You may have seen recently I've been doing a bit of coaching for myself. Went and saw Alex Clapp, did a lesson with Alex, fantastic video. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you go and check that one out now. Moving on from that though, I've come up to San Martin's Golf Club. I'm catching up with Ben Emerson, who's also a highly qualified PGA professional. We're looking at the floor. We're seeing if we can generate maybe a swing thought by using the ground forces. Can I get any more out of my golf game? Can I get any more speed out of my golf ball and get me hitting it that little bit further, but also straighter? Ben, what a lovely studio you have here. TrackMan, we've got body track, we've got everything going on.
Yeah, technical geek.
Fully loaded up.
And we're going to get you better.
I want to just, that's what I want to get into, because obviously we've just been through this, so we're kind of like, we've already experimented, we've talked about it, we've got the numbers, and I just wanted to share with a few people here now, what am I doing? You know, what's body track telling us? What's the TrackMan numbers kind of telling us as well?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, you've got a two-way miss, which is like a no-no. Where do you aim? Like, no, just you can't, can you? And
there's be a lot of golfers out there that do have a two-way miss.
Yeah, and actually, like, most people don't use the grounds as well as they could, right? Yeah. And as you've just witnessed when you're on that body track, how much it's moving without even your body mass moving at all, right? It's already like you're getting primed and fired up. Yeah. And everything in the swing is represented in the feet, right? So whatever your feet do, you can then see, and that's what we've literally done today. And like my goal with you is to get you into a better impact position, because impact position is not good. Don't take that the wrong way, but it could be better.
It's not been good for a while.
And actually, like, you've done a lot of work on your backswing, which of course is important, but the golf ball doesn't know the backswing. The golf ball only ever know impact. That's what it reacts to. Yeah. And so the whole story has to be, how do we get you into a better impact position? And that's what we've been working on today. Yeah. So first of all, we got you on the body track to see what your actual pressure was doing. Yeah. So do you want to stand on it?
We're going to jump on, yeah.
We're trying to get hips to rotate out of the way.
Yes.
And this is something that just baffles me, how one, we set up like this. Yeah. But two, like, impact looks like this. So when you see the best players in the world, they've rotated their hips, their chest is open, the handle is in front of the club head. They're in this nice solid impact position. Yeah. But we start like this. That makes no logical sense, does it? To start one way and...
Now you've explained it to me, not at all.
And like I was saying to you, like, if you take the analogy of like like a hammer and a nail, and you're trying to hammer a nail into a wall, you would start with the hammer behind the nail. Like, what would your strikes be like if you went, right, I'm going to start the hammer here, and I'm going to try and manipulate it back to the nail? Like, that makes no logical sense. But golfers start like this because, you know, I do get it. There's a backswing involved and a downswing. Sure. But when impact is wrong, I'll always go after impact first and work backwards. So what we were trying to do is actually get you set up into a better impact position first. So you have the
presetting,
rotating your hips, chest open, and actually do a couple of rehearsal swings from there. Yeah. Where we were working on a couple of things with our feet, which I'll show in a second. But if you was to take the club back so the club is parallel, and actually just do some rehearsal swings where you return back to that position, so you really get that sensation of your hips cleared, your chest cleared, and the club then squaring naturally with the body turn. Not you, where the body just goes up, you see this kind of rounding in your shoulders, and the club just then takes over.
Correct, because so for me, I was almost getting back to the setup position here. So as I'm coming in, and you see this so often, especially with maybe older golfers, they get into a position where their body slows down, they get stuck into this place here, which is almost a setup.
Yeah, I mean, if you were an alien and you came down to this planet and you were told golf, you go away. You'd be gone. Because the thought for a lot of people of actually hitting down on an object, for that object to go up, doesn't make a lot of sense. But you've seen from the numbers like how much we strike down onto the back of the ball. We're not trying to scoop and help it up. No. And the problem I see is like a club is designed not to be hit like that. It's not designed to be in that position. No. It's not designed to be in that position, it's designed to be in that position. You think you've de-lofted the club, like increased loft, sorry, by 2 clubs nearly, just by having the handle behind you, club face open, and now we've got some real problems. So getting the sense of, this is a great drill for so many golfers out there, but just getting the sense of pre-setting impact. So what would you like to look like at impact? So hips opened up, body feeling like it's opened up a little bit.
weight transferred onto the left side, certainly into the left heel
Yeah,
as I come through.
Already onto that left side. Like I always use an analogy. I'm always trying to like punch the target.
Yeah.
So if I was trying to move that weight off and back, like if I was to punch you, not to punch you, it'd be a terrible lesson, wouldn't it? But if I went to punch you, I would load onto this back foot and I would load onto the front of my arms and come through.
Yes.
Imagine if I did it the other way. Imagine if I did this. Imagine if I loaded onto that back foot, I pushed into this left, but just before I hit you, I went like this. I suck it back.
Yeah.
Then what would happen? Weight's going in the wrong direction, but you've been playing long enough to go, wow, I still know how to hit a ball, so I'm going to find another way. My hands are going to come through. I'm going to get really scoopy, really flippy at it. And
which I've done my whole life almost.
And then it's a bit of pot luck.
Yeah.
And what a lot of golfers then do is they then go, oh, well, the club face was off, so I'm going to start looking at what it's like at the top on the way back, which is very normal to do, but actually the body was a problem in the first place. Go off to the body first, then it's easier for the hands to calibrate themselves and actually get you used to squaring that club face up again.
So just from a drill point of view, me getting preset, what does it feel like into this position here, and then almost from there hitting some golf shots where from there, how do I get now back to that sensation? How do I get back to that feeling of impact there?
Yeah, so I always say, right, if you can't do something slowly, there's not a hope in hell of doing it fast, right? So if it was me, I'd be set up with, in that impact position, I've cleared, my chest is open, my hips are open, my hands are ahead.
Yeah.
I would then do a couple of nice slow rehearsal swings, just my club not going very far back, but actually just working on getting that feeling of what it feels like in slow motion first of all.
Yeah.
And actually hit some shots in slow motion. I actually think it's quite good fun just to sort of see, can you do it in slow motion first of all? Like you can imagine most golfers on a driving range, they're flat out.
Yeah, of course they are, yeah.
All the time, trying to
yeah.
make all these changes. Whereas you think, give your brain the opportunity to change, right? It has to learn slowly, it has to be something that's built up. So a couple of like slow rehearsal swings just to get that sensation first, then try and do it into a swing.
So moving on from there then, we also then talked about my footwork, didn't we? We talked about my pressure points.
Your dancing.
My dancing.
Your dancing.
My Bambi on ice dancing.
Yeah, I mean,
not using the floor enough, not using it in the right way. Let's just talk about stuff.
Yeah, so our goal, right, as we've said, the end goal is to get impact better.
Yeah.
Right, so handle ahead, hips open, chest open. Well, and I use this analogy with you, like if I had two rugby players that could help me and they could actually run at me and push my hips in certain directions, that would be really useful.
Yeah.
So if I had like a pole here and I had a rugby player literally run straight at me and push this pole here, but bear in mind, I'm trying to rotate my hips towards the target.
Yeah.
That's going to now be very difficult for me to do because I'm literally, someone is pushing me out of the way. Well, same thing happens this way. If I had a rugby player running at me this way and they just threw me this way, I would actually spin, right? But if they both do it at the same time, like is what we were seeing with you, is you're pushing into the ground onto your right, the ground's going to punch you back. Right, that's the rugby player, like you can use the ground to help or hurt your swing, right? So if you're pushing into that toe, like we saw with you at the top of your swing, like you went straight into your toe early doors, right? It was straight into that toe. Now all of a sudden the ground is pushing you back the wrong way. It's not helping you. So what I was trying to get you to do is actually load better by, and this goes back to your lesson with Alex, actually getting you to open your hips more, but let's use the ground to help us. So as you load into that back foot, I like you to feel there's a bit of a squeeze in that right heel, just so you're kind of getting that nicer load. You can still get those hips nice and open. You can see how much they're turning.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to cheat it.
No.
And that's something that you were doing. You weren't using the ground to help. So now the ground can help you come back again.
Yeah.
So as I've loaded into that right heel, now the ground's going to push you back.
This way.
Yeah, the ground force reactions are going to throw you this way.
Yeah.
And it's going to help you get off and clear those hips. What we were talking about is a force couple. Okay. Now, I need that other rugby player to help because I can't have this rugby player running that way and then both, almost thrusting you forward and having that early extension.
Yeah.
So I want to feel like there's someone else pushing you this way to clear your hips. And that's where this foot comes into action. So what we were then doing is actually getting that force couple by feeling there's a nice squeeze into this right side on the way back.
Yeah.
But then there's an initial push into this left toe, and feeling that you're posting up out of the ground. You see, as soon as you do that, look at your hips.
Yeah.
They've literally just
twisting out. Yeah.
Now the chest is open, hips are open, and you've used the ground to help you do that, as opposed to do the other way.
And one of the things that we talked about with Alex was again with my sensation of me wanting to go this way with my head here, as I come through, feeling Hendriksen, feeling Annika Sarensdown, that type of action where you come through and almost like the peak. I used to be back here, and you've seen a little bit of that today already, haven't you? Where
it's funny that you're working on that.
I know, yeah. But because there's been so many things, it's how do you piece them all together?
Massively, yeah.
And that's where we've talked about that as well, where bit by bit, slowly.
It's a plan, yeah. The end goal is to get impact better.
Yeah.
Right, that should always be our end kind of goal. How we do that is then up to us, coaching the pupil, to find a plan to build that, because everyone does it at different times. Some people can really use the ground well, and I tell them to do something, they can nail it and they're done.
Yeah.
That might not be for everybody. So it's very difficult if you give somebody 3 or 4 things to work on, which ones to work on first. Well, actually, what if they're all important?
Yeah, absolutely.
We go after impact first because that's the most important, it's what the ball knows.
Yeah.
And then you try and help that. So you work on, like we were talking about, let's get your practice better, let's give you some balls working on right foot only, and then give you some balls working on left foot only.
Yeah.
You use that impact reel to then blend the two together.
Yeah. Just looking at the numbers then, TrackMan numbers in comparison to what Body Track is telling us.
Yeah.
But one of the noticeable things, and Mike, who's been watching out, Mike Brown's been watching out with the numbers, but my club head speed is at 84 mile an hour. This is on TrackMan numbers, with a ball speed of 114 and a carry distance of 162. If you then, can you bring that to now the last swing that I actually did?
Yeah. So
on there. Now it was at 80. We're at 84.2. So we've picked up 1 mile an hour here. Okay, as a swing increase. But look at my ball speed increase of 120. So I've gone from 114 to now 120. And a carry distance of 162 to now 171. Bearing in mind I'm using a 7-iron for this.
Yeah.
So can we just now bring those? Well, you tell us what's happened here then.
Bear in mind, right, so this is one where you've used the ground better and you've cleared out the way. So you've better rotation, you've squared the face up better, which is why the ball's gone dead straight. Yeah. And the face angle is literally pointing dead at the target. It's ever so slightly open, 0.5.
Natural little draw.
Yeah, the path is out to the right, face to path is minus, literally just a touch, which just brought the ball back nicely. Yeah. We go back to that earlier one, where face is open nearly 7 degrees, that's a lot.
Well, I've been fighting this so much.
Path is out that way too, so this matches, but that ball is going right all day long, isn't it? You've got to work very hard. But now if you think of a face being open, there's your distance straight away, isn't it? Yeah. And like we were talking about with using the ground better, is actually if you get the handle ahead, you can then get that club de-lofted better, and actually you can produce a more penetrating, nicer flight. Yeah. So if you look at the ground, this is what we were talking about with our footwork, this is the first swing here on the right, and if I just slowly take you up to the first position here, like we saw instantly the first move that you went to was to your toe. So right toe, literally straight into that position. Yeah. I then take you to the better one, and we take you to that same position. So go back a few frames. Now all of a sudden that's you loading in a nice heat signature here. So you've loaded better early doors, which means it's easier to keep it going up into the swing, as opposed to this one here where you're completely fighting it.
And the reason I wanted to show this off here is because we talked about it in a previous lesson where Alex has tried to get me to get my right hip to open up more as I got back. I was really struggling to get a sense of it, but because now Ben has said, think about your feet, think about where your pressure points are within your feet. By me feeling as though I'm pushing more into my heel on the way back rather than into my tiptoe, it naturally opens the hip up with it. Yeah. So it's a combination of the two, but it just made it really easy to feel like I was straightening and opening up my right hip.
And it works in tandem, doesn't it, with what Alex was saying, to get you actually get that hip open, but using the ground to do it. Not the body and the ground having like a fight and a battle. And that's kind of what was happening. You were getting to that position, but you were cheating it. So you're taking your strongest muscles pretty much out of play. You've manipulated an impact because you've seen it on camera and like to look at that position.
I feel like I'm cutting corners to get there.
Yeah, you've cheated it. Well, it's actually what we've done is shown you how the ground can help you.
Yeah.
You've seen a massive increase in pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And plus then at impact you've got that nicer impact position. So it just becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
What I was saying is once you've got used to that feeling of getting into that clear position, it just takes, like, the first couple felt really awkward, right?
Really awkward.
Massively awkward, because loading into your heel is a difficult thing. Like when you jump, you go into your toe and you jump. Try and jump off your heels. You look ridiculous. I won't do it, but you look ridiculous. So it doesn't feel natural. Yeah. But actually that's you using the ground better to help your golf swing. And that's exactly what you've just done.
Managing club face, obviously really, really important, but for me, using my feet more, having the sense of using my feet by using the body track system, matching that up to the numbers, obviously matching that up to what it looks like on video, a massive help for me, something I can take away and work, and obviously a massive thanks to Ben for showing it to me, because it just really feels so much more compact, so much better, but generating just that little bit more ball speed from it as well, only going to help my game. I hope you like that video. Don't forget, if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, give Ben a follow as well, and we'll see you all again very soon.